How do I get it? Drop this. Just drop down like this. Will that go?
I'm not a Mac guy. I don't know. What are you
Okay,
trying to do? Get
sorry.
rid of the pop-up?
Yeah, this one.
Just click
That's
the,
fine.
oh, the zoom one.
Yeah, the zoom one.
Oh, you can go to, there should be some 3 dots on the top right
Oh
corner
yeah,
of
it's
the
gone.
box. And if you click the 3 dots, there's a button that says hide, hide the whatever, the bar.
Video panel.
Yes, there we go. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So are you able to see this black color screen, right?
Yep, yep. I see black screen. Yep.
Oh, this is my Samsung tab, so I just connected to my Mac, and so that I will write on here so that you will understand better. So that's a plan I thought, but I don't know how it will work. We'll see. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So first we'll start with the web applications, okay? First we'll understand how web application works, okay? Since you didn't have enough knowledge on that, so we'll cover a few basics of the web application. Then later we'll go to SailPoint, okay? So
Okay.
then you'll understand better.
Sure.
Yeah, it's good, I think. So we'll start with the web app. Okay. So what do you know about web applications? So just do you have any knowledge on web applications? Like at least the terminology that you have heard from somewhere else or from your Okta training too.
Um, a web application would be any, you know, any software that lives or requires the web in order to
Mm-hmm.
exchange information
Mm-hmm.
and communicate
Mm-hmm.
with other applications.
Okay.
And it's typically hosted on HTTP or HTTPS.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And do you know how it works? Like if we open on a Chrome or on a Google, if we open any website, how the website works? Like if you click a button, so it will show some pop-ups on your screen. So how it all coming up? Do you have any idea like how all those works?
So when you open a website on your computer, you are
Mm-hmm.
typing in a web address, which
Mm-hmm.
basically sends a request
Mm-hmm.
to the the I guess let's just call it to the internet, right? Internet of
Uh-huh.
Things, whatever you want to call it, to the
Mm-hmm.
broader ecosystem. That request, that HTTP or the HTTPS request, is then rerouted to
Mm-hmm.
the to the uh,
Okay.
hosting provider that is hosting that website, saying that, hey, there's a person that wants to view these things. And
Okay.
that all that information is hosted across different data houses around the country, on-prem, around the globe, whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
And typically, the content is fetched from the
Mm-hmm.
nearest physical location that is actually hosting the content. So in other words, let's just say I have a website on GoDaddy and you log
Okay.
into it from Mumbai, right? There's going to be
Mm-hmm.
a data house in Mumbai that's going to probably be accessed to fetch that content to you so you get it the quickest possible.
Yeah, that's
Typically how that
true.
would work. It's called like
So
an edge.
so that's fine. Like we should not go to that end. Just we'll cover the basic part, then you will understand about better. Okay.
Okay.
So there are two things in web application. One is client. Okay. One is a server. Okay, these are the two things that on a high level, if you see any web application, these are the main two parts. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so to understand a web application. So here, if you see client means basically our web browser. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
like let's take a Chrome, something or like that. Okay, so on
Mm-hmm.
a server, so server can be of anything, like it can be on-premises server. Okay, like I mean, you can set up yourself one server on your home, in your home, like on your
Mm-hmm.
laptop. That is kind of server. Or if there are any big applications like Netflix or Amazon, something like that, they host the servers on the cloud,
Mm,
AWS, Azure, Google, somewhere. They just
mhm,
place their servers by to the third parties so that they will manage everything. So
mhm,
server can be of anything. I mean, it can be in any place. How big it is different. It's depends on the web application that we are dealing with. Okay, so
mhm,
so when we open any web app, so the web app can be of two types. And here in server, let me draw a little big so that it will be easy for us to learn. Draw. So there will be two parts in a web application. There will be front end, okay,
mhm,
and the back end, okay.
mhm,
So when we open a browser and when you enter an URL like amazon.com, so the what browser will do is right. So it will send an HTTP request to the internet with this amazon.com.
mhm,
Amazon.com is a domain name server. It's a Amazon as itself as a one IP address. Okay.
mhm.
So IP address, IP address, right? So like 192.168 something dot zero, something like that will be there. Like with the I mean 256, 256, 256 will be there. So
It's a
that's a
unique
different thing. Yeah,
number,
unique.
like a code that's assigned to a specific, I
Ah,
guess,
yes.
client or.
Y- yes, correct. You are good. You are correct. So it's like a specific number given to a domain. Like if you say okay, Amazon.com or a Google.com. So these two have different IP addresses, unique IP addresses for Amazon.com and unique IP addresses for Google.com. So if you see for Google, it is 8.8.8.8.8. This is the IP address for Google. So if you go to browser and if you type 8.8.8, it will redirect to Google.com itself. Okay.
Mhm.
So just for our simplicity, just to remember, as a human, we are good at remembering names instead of
Mhm.
numbers. So what they did, like, I mean, people who invented internet, what they did is, right. So they I mean, they just given a name to the IP addresses. Okay.
Mhm.
So instead of you typing 8.8.8.8, just you can type google.com. So it will take you to the Google homepage. Okay. So if we go to browser and if you type google.com, it
Mhm.
has to redirect to the Google server. So how the browser knows? Like it has to take you to the particular Google server. Do you have any how it goes to the exactly to the Google server?
How does it go to the Google server?
Yeah, why can't it is not going to the Amazon.com? Why it is going to only Google.com?
Because Google essentially, let's just say, claimed that 8.8.8.8, unique code,
Hmm. Yeah.
and um yeah, like that
Hmm.
address is owned by Google. Like if you.
Yes, correct. So, yes, correct. It is owned by Google and somewhere it has to store, like it has to map with the google.com. So like
Mhm.
8.8.8.8 and it has to map with the google.com.
So
And
every website, every web
every
address has an
website.
associated IP address with it.
Yes, correct. If you take any Amazon.com, it has separate IP address and it will map to the Amazon.com. Okay. So all this information is stored by the domain name servers.
Okay, so I
Okay.
have a quick question here. So I
Yeah.
didn't know that websites also have specific IP addresses. I know that like a
Mm-hmm.
laptop, like for example, if I use my laptop to connect to the
Mm-hmm.
internet or to a website, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have an IP address, like my laptop has an IP address. So are those IP addresses different from these ones that you're talking about? Is there different categories of IP addresses?
Yes, your hardware device has a MAC address, not a IP address. So MAC address is different from IP address. IP address is all related to internet, and MAC addresses are more to the hardware devices. Got it?
So when you use a VPN, a virtual private network, to hide or change your IP address, what does that exactly
Mm-hmm.
mean? What are you exactly doing? Like, which of these IP addresses are you trying to hide by doing that?
So if we use a VPN, so it is a all different concept. Like it will tell, like it will what we call bluff your IP address. Instead of showing your local IP address, it will take you to the different IP address and it pretend like you are in some location, in different location. So that's how it works for VPN.
So that IP address that you're talking about, right? Like you said, it'll show a different one. What is that
Mhm.
IP address associated with? Your specific device, or is it your Chrome browser, or what?
Yeah, got it. So if we go, I mean, those IP address, I mean, I need to go deep on the IP addresses actually. So if you
Okay.
to understand that, so it's like IP addresses are like of different types, like class A, class B, class C. There are different kinds of classes in IP address. That's a whole different computer network concepts. Okay, we
Mm,
can't. I mean, it doesn't need for to learn a sale point. I'm just these basic concepts are enough for us to learn a sale point. So
got
to
it.
understand the VPN and all that, it will take to the another level. Okay, so we
Okay,
can
got it.
we can discuss it later. Like for now, we'll touch the basics of the IP addresses. So
Sure.
we can go through this later. So where we are, so here, right? In if we go to browser and if you type in amazon.com or google.com something, it will take you to the particular
Mm-hmm.
amazon.com server. So it how it goes is like there will be a routers in between the client. I mean, this is all internet, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So this is all internet, and there will be routers in internet. So it will go step by step, like from one router to one router to like that. It will finally it will reach to the Amazon.com server.
The
Some
request, you're talking about the request, will be
Yep.
routed from routers to routers, and
Yes,
eventually
correct.
will come to Amazon.com. Now, what is a
Yes.
router? It's just
So
basically a signal send like capturing device.
uh they're like a hardware kind of devices. Like if you see in a Wi-Fi router, so if it has a separate IP address for it. So
It's basically
if
a device
you
that captures an electrical information.
mm,
Like it's just
yeah.
capturing a signal with information, basically, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
So it will just grab your request that you have placed on a browser. So it will take that while you are placing the request, it will be source address and the destination address. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
based on that, it will take you to the destination address to the server and
Mm-hmm.
revert again. The server will revert back to the source address that you have on the while it's going to the server, it has both server and destination address. So based on these two, again, your server will send back request to the client based on the source address. Okay, you understand that? So like, I
Um,
mean, I will repeat again. Okay,
sure.
so while you are requesting from a client browser,
Mm-hmm.
URL will catch with the destination address and the source address. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so while the request, these things also will be sent to the routers. So what will happen is like based on the destination address, all routers will send to the Amazon server. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and once the Amazon server reach the request, it will process and it will send the respective data to the client. How it will send based on the source address,
Mm-hmm.
since it is already have that. I'm talking on a high level, okay? There will be a lot of things happen in between this, like, okay, the lot of
Right.
security things will be checked, like SLA certificate will be there. The server has to verify whether the client is valid client or not, whether it is a bot, whether it is a human. There are multiple things will happen in between these two, client and server. But on a high level, I'm just telling, once you enter the URL, it will take you to the respective server. It will process the request, server will process the request, and again it will send back to the client. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
again client will process that request. It will verify the, like whether the right whether the server is a valid server or not, whether I'm getting from the trusted server or not, and
Mm-hmm.
everything will be taken care by the Chrome browser. I mean, whatever browser you are using, and it will show on the UI. Everything will happen in a seconds. Okay, so if you go to Chrome or any browser, just if you type amazon.com, it will show immediately on your screen.
Mm-hmm.
That's fast it happen in a second. It will everything will be happen. Okay.
Right. So,
Mm.
okay, so you're saying that for any website, including my own website,
Yeah.
they all have their own IP addresses that I can type in instead, which would
Yes.
also be redirect to that website, basically, right?
Yes. Correct.
Okay, now when I typed in the 8888, it took me to
Mm-hmm.
the Google
.com.
DNS page. So what is that? What's the difference between that and
It won't take you to the DNS page. It will take you to the google.com only. So I'm telling like there will be a name servers like domain name servers where there are like trusted parties in the internet. Like they will store the IP address and the domain name. So
mm,
for example, take your domain like your website URL riteshchaudhary.com.
mm-hmm,
So that has an expire date as well. Like if you while you are buying that IP address, they will mention like it is valid for only 1 year or 2 years, something like that, right?
mm-hmm.
If you remember. So it is like somebody has to manage those servers. I mean those names. So GoDaddy is a thing that they will take care of with the domain name servers. They will assign an IP address for you. So let's say your IP address, your domain is Riti's. So and your they will assign some IP address for you, like 192 something 168.0.0 something like that. They
Mm-hmm.
will manage everything for you. They will hide everything from your site. They will just give the rati.com. That's it. You need to use this instead of
Mm-hmm.
using the IP address. Everything backend work will be taken care by the GoDaddy.
Okay, got
So
it.
just you need to use this IP domain name.
Right. They're associating the name with that address.
Yeah.
They're basically
Yes.
like variable, or I guess
Yes,
you know,
correct.
x equals 2. That's basically what's happening.
Mhm. Yeah. So that's for that to maintain all that, they will charge you. So that's how it works on
Right.
a high level. Okay.
Okay.
So this is something about client and server. So let's talk about the server, okay, in detail.
Mhm.
So for server, if we go to server, so server is like it will take request from client and it will give response to the client, okay?
Mhm.
So for that, to manage and all the request and responses, to understand all those things, there has to be some software, right? There has to be some softwares for servers, right?
Mhm.
So in the market, we have different kinds of servers. One is Tomcat, one is WebLogic, and Red Hat. There are different kinds of servers, okay? So these are the servers that will take care of the requests and the responses. Like when you send the request, these softwares will take that request and it will process. I mean, again, we need to have some web apps inside too, right? I mentioned front end, back end, something like that. If you remember before diagram here.
Right. Now, these
So,
servers that you're talking about, Tomcat, WebLogic, Red Hat, are
mhm.
these servers owned by these like massive hosting companies, or who owns those servers?
So
What I don't
hosting.
understand, one thing I don't understand about the internet is like,
Mhm.
imagine if the internet was like a country, right?
Mhm.
There are some things like protocols and ports and all these different things. Who
Yeah.
actually governs and puts those laws in place, like how things work? Like who is there any governing body of that comes up with
Yes.
this logic for how things will work?
So it has happened long back. So there are some organizations like OWASP. If you, I mean, I'm not. I couldn't remember the exact name, but there are few organizations where they will manage everything related to these protocols, like how to structure all those things. There for vulnerabilities, there will be a website called OWASP. So it is one of the website where they will take care of all the security related things. And there
Mm,
are a few organizations where they will take care of the best practices that has to be taken should take by the server teams so that there will be a less security concerns in the team. So like that will be there. So there are different organizations in US itself, not in other countries, I'm not sure, but in US there are many organizations where they manage all these things. Okay, so I
Mm.
don't know the names, but I heard there are few teams they manage and they will publish the right product into the market, and that's how organizations use those like certified architecture, something like that will be there.
Mm.
Okay,
Sure.
so yeah, we're here. So your request will be sent from the client and server will catch that request and it will redirect to the respective IP address. Do you know what is the not the IP address? It's a REST APIs. Okay.
REST
So
API stands for Representational State
yeah,
Application Programming Interface, which is
interface. Yes, yes, correct.
basically
So
like it captures the environment as it is and makes like basically takes a snapshot of it and sends it over to another
yeah, correct.
application.
So yes, similar to that. So like if we take a REST API, nothing but just like a slash home slash contact, something like that. So in the software that we have developed, like if we take the backend software, there will be a APIs inside this backend software where they will process those requests. Like if we take this slash get people, something like that, like get product, so there will be some logic inside the backend software where it will process this API slash product slash get product. Okay.
Hmm.
So once we, okay, let me draw this diagram little bit clear so that you'll understand. So this backend, and there will be a database too. I didn't draw here, but database. It can be of any database. I will talk about this later, database, okay? So in the
Okay.
backend, there will be a software, like it can be developed using Java or Python, whatever. We will use these languages to develop the backend software, okay? So
Mhm.
for backend software is all about handling the APIs. So let's take one API called get product, okay? So I will write some logic here, like where like if we are sending a client is sending a request amazon.com slash get product, okay,
Mhm.
so it will send to the client is requesting slash get product, it will send to the server, okay, there will be a
Mhm.
server, and in the inside the server there will be a Tomcat server software. Server software will take that request first. From that server will send the request to the backend software. Okay,
Mhm.
like slash get product. So slash get product, and inside the backend software, there will be a method where it will handle this logic. Like some programming language will be there, some logic will be there, where that logic is relative, like get the data from the database, like slash get product. Right? So it means like I need to get some products, information related to product. Okay,
Mhm.
so inside the database, we have a product information. Already this information is exist in database, so we no need to worry about the information. So what the backend has to do is like, it will just grab the data from the database based on this API slash get product. It will grab the products information from database, and again it will get back to the backend software, and from the backend software it will send response to the server, and the server will send response to the client, and it will show on the UI all products information on the UI.
Okay, so let me understand this flow one more time. So on the left
Yeah,
side is the what? Which one is the left square?
this is client.
That is the client. And then
Yeah,
the middle big one is the what?
middle big one is a server.
Server. And then the
Yeah,
right one is the database, right?
yeah, and this is database. Yes,
So
correct.
we can think of a client like the one making the request.
Mm-hmm.
The database is what is hosting the information, and the
Mm-hmm.
server is basically the one carrying out the request from to the database
The
and back to the
backend.
client.
Yeah. In the inside the server, in the server software, there will be a backend software too, like backend. developed using Java or Python, whatever. So there will be a one software inside the server, okay? Server software.
Mm.
So only server cannot handle those requests. I mean, only server cannot grab the data from the database. It can't do any operations. It can just take the request and it will just send the responses from the backend. You got it right. It is just like a server in the restaurant where customer orders the product and it will take the order and it will go the server will go and give requirements to the chef. Chef will do things and again give to the server and server again give to the customer like
So the
that.
client is
Server,
the customer, the server is the one that takes your order, the
chef.
database is basically the kitchen and the chef, right?
Yeah, backend is the kitchen, I mean the chef, and the server is the server. Server is the server, yes.
Right.
The name itself is a server, yeah, kind
Makes
of.
sense.
So this how the request happen on the internet. Like, and here while sending the request, there are few protocols that we need to know. One is the HTTP, and the second one is the HTTPS. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So HTTP is the hypertext transport protocol. Okay. So this using this protocol only we'll send request to the backend to the server. Okay,
Mm.
HTTP and HTTPS. HTTPS is like the secure one, like we are
Mm.
using right now. Before this, during old days, I mean, few years back, we use the HTTP, which is not secure. Like it doesn't have any verification. I mentioned right before, client has
Right.
to verify whether I'm receiving the right data and the authorized data from the server or not. Am I receiving
So,
from the, yeah.
okay, so from what I understand about HTTPS, like I have a, what is it called? SLS certificate?
Yes, correct. There will be a concept called
SLS?
SLA,
Is that what it's called?
S, SLA.
SLA, right?
Yeah, SLA certificate.
Okay,
Yes,
SLS
correct.
certificate. I have an SLS certificate on my website, so it makes it secured. But what does that
Mm.
exactly mean? Secured, like what does secured mean relative to what?
So, yeah. So I told you right before there are domain name servers and all those things in
Mm-hmm.
between client and server.
Mm-hmm.
There are few organizations where they has to verify whether the server is a authorized one or not. They will give some certificate, like you have a SLA certificate. So while the browser is receiving a response, it has to have a with the response there will be a SLA certificate too. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So with the response, SLA certificate will be transferred to the client, and browser will verify, client will verify whether the SLA certificate is a valid one or not. If it is valid, it will accept the request. I mean, it will show on the UI. Otherwise, it will ignore that response. It won't take that.
So the SLA certificate is securing the
Mm.
client. Who is it
Uh, s-
securing? Like, what is it exactly securing?
Securing means like it won't
Protecting?
take any responses. It just ignore those responses which doesn't have SLA certificate.
Oh, like,
So it will just
uh,
let it go like that. It won't accept those responses which doesn't have
who's sending the
SLA
responses?
certificate. Server will send the responses.
And who owns the certificate?
A server has to own the certificate. I mean the domain name has to be have SLA certificate and the server. I mean it's like both ways. I mean, if you see domain google.com or your ritichaudhary.com, there will be a SLA certificate for your domain too. Okay. So for your domain, there will be SLA certificate and the server that you're managing, there will be some communication between those two, and based on that, it will verify. I'm not sure the inside concept, but on a high level, that's how it works. There will be some verification validation happen on a client side, like whether I'm receiving the right response or not from the server, like that.
So the secured part of it is basically a client sends a request to the server, right?
Mm-hmm.
The server owns the security certificate. So in my case, like I have my domain is secured, meaning like
Yeah.
I am paying to have a secured server. So basically that means that when someone wants to access my website, come to my website,
Mm-hmm.
my server is verifying to make sure that person is a legitimate human and not a bot, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Is that who it's
So
protecting? It's protecting me from bot traffic or like
So
scam?
there are like many things here. Like there are some hackers where they will pretend like I'm sending a right request. Like if you send a request from your website, like if you open your website and if you click one button, like about button, so the information has to show on UI, right? It has to go to server and get the information about the info about your post. It has to grab the information from database. Again, it has to send back to the UI, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in between, many hackers also can send a response to you. Instead of they will pretend like I'm a trusted server. I'm sending I'm sending a response to the your website, something like that. Even
Mm.
though it's not a trusted server, they'll pretend like it's a trusted server and they'll send a malicious responses to your website where your website will be hacked, something like that. So to stop all those things, there is a concept called SLA certificate. Like while I'm receiving a response, it will verify like whether I'm receiving a right response from the right server or not. So that's how they do. I don't know the in-depth concept of that, but that's how I understand while I'm learning. So I
Mm-hmm.
didn't go in depth. It's all related to computer networks. It doesn't matter, like even if you ignore those. But I'm
Okay,
just for information, I'm just letting you know.
got it. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So we understand a little bit about web application, right? We understand the client, we understand the server, and we understand the database,
Client is
right?
anybody who wants any information from a database.
Yeah. Yes, correct.
Okay. Or anyone, I guess, or any system.
Like any browser, you can say like that. Okay, you can ignore as a you can remember as a Chrome or any browser who is requesting. Okay,
To access the
requesting.
database.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And the server is
The server is the
so what? Yeah, you can just tell the like what are the softwares that we need inside the server? What are the
um,
containers we need in server? Yeah.
I don't know what the softwares are, but I understand the concept of server is that it's
Mm.
a sys it's a
So yeah, you can just ignore the news, but you understand the concept, right? There is something where it will accept the request from the client and it will process
right. There's some type of a
something.
software that
Mm,
accepts that or takes in that request from
mm,
the browser
yeah.
and processes that request and then basically takes that request to the database where the information is contained
Yes, correct.
and back and
Yeah.
forth.
So yeah, yes, the knowledge is enough for now. So to understand the our goal sale point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, now I will open the sale point and I will show you how it look like. Okay.
Sure.
So let me stop the server so that I will show you how to start the server and everything. I will show you the server too.
Okay.
I don't know why it is popping up again. I need to click this
Every
and
time you hit the escape button, it's gonna pop up that little thing again. So just don't press the escape. And to
okay.
close it, you go to the very right corner. There should be three dots. You click the three dots. There should be a drop down that says hide floating panel or something like that. And if you click
Oh,
that, it should hide it. But if every time you press escape button, it'll come back again.
okay. Gotcha. Oh, this is the server that I installed for SailPoint, Tomcat. Okay. I told you, right, there will be one software for the server that has to taken care of the request and responses. This is the software that we need for SailPoint. Okay. Tomcat, Apache Tomcat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And inside the Tomcat, there will be a folder called web apps. Okay. I
So
mean,
what you're showing me right
inst
now, is this a server? You're saying this is a server?
yeah, it's a server software. So we need to install from the Google like Apache Tomcat or whatever the version we need, whatever the version that supports SailPoint, we need to install that as a zip folder or something like that related to Mac. I mean, supported by a Mac.
Mm-hmm.
Then we need to extract that first. Okay. So after extracting this zip folder, like if I click that, it will come like this. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm uninstalling since I already have. So that's how it come out. Once it came out, this is the software. Okay. Server software. And inside the software, there is a folder called web apps. Okay. And this is the software that SailPoint, I mean, IdentityIQ. This is a software that we need. Okay. Since I already have, I am showing you. Otherwise, it won't show here. It will just show you the empty folder. Okay.
Right.
So I will show you the other ones where the SailPoint is not installed. I will delete this. Okay. So once you install the Tomcat software, it will show you like this without IAQ software. Okay. There will be only these folders like docs, examples. You can ignore these folders. Just
Right.
doesn't matter.
This is what it looks like when you first install a server, you're saying, right?
Yes,
Like just
correct.
bunch of empty folders.
Empty folders, not
And
empty
this
folders.
is this
Mhm.
specific now to SailPoint, what you're showing me right now?
Yes, it's,
So you
I
just
mean,
installed a SailPoint server, is that what this is?
it's not specific to SailPoint. This server can be used by any web applications, but
Okay,
I mean, we can use this for SailPoint too.
got it.
So it's a universal software for any web applications. Since a SailPoint is a web application, so we are using this server, Tomcat server. Okay.
Mm.
So once you install this server, if you go to web apps, it won't show you the IAQ software. So we need IAQ software. Okay. I mean the SailPoint software. Where we get that?
What does IIQ stand for?
Uh, it's it's a SailPoint's other name, like SailPoint IIQ.
It's
Okay.
another like version or whatever, like more recent
Yeah.
or something.
So there are like two versions of SailPoint. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So SailPoint IIQ and the SailPoint ID now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So SailPoint has these two softwares. One is on premises, like it is not on a cloud. Every organization has to set up the software on their own servers. Like if you take any organization where the servers are managed by themselves, like they have physical software, physical servers at their company,
Mm-hmm.
and they will manage everything. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know the on premises, like the meaning of on premises means.
Yeah, it's on your physical location, like on site.
Hmm. Yeah. So all servers are at location, like at the organization location. In that servers, the software will be running. Okay.
So
So
IIQ works with on-prem servers, you
yes,
think?
only works for on-prem. Okay. We need to set up at the on-prem servers only.
And is it called ID now? ID now is like
I-
cloud-based,
Yeah, IDNOW is the cloud-based. Yes,
meaning
you're correct.
everything that's hosted, all the
Mm.
information is hosted on the cloud that the
Yeah,
SailPoint
this
gets information
software
from.
is available on cloud. So now we install a Tomcat server, right?
Mm-hmm.
This one, we no need to install server anything for this. They will take a SailPoint team will take care of everything. Just they will
Mm.
give you some URL. Just you need to use that.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is on premises. So right now, we didn't have access to the cloud SailPoint identity now. I'm just uh, we are talking about SailPoint IQ, which is on premises and free to use for
Mm-hmm.
practice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
I can show you the UI of the SailPoint identity now too. I have a little access for that. I will show you that as well in future. Okay.
Okay.
So we'll set up our environment first. So do you want me to go through a few concepts before that? Like I planned in different way. I thought of teaching you, telling you about the why sale point, why, what problem it solves in the industry, and the differences
Yeah,
between IAM, IGA, and PAM. I will go through
definitely we
these
should.
first, and then
I understand.
later.
I think you mentioned PAM as one of them. I understand the concept of privileged access
Mm-hmm.
management, but I don't really understand it, Like, I mean, I understand like at
Uh-huh.
high level, like, yes, this is very confidential information. Only the
Okay.
most privileged people should be access it, and it should be zero trust and least
Yeah.
privileged access also. Well, principle
Mm-hmm.
of least privileged access, whatever you want to call it. Those things,
Yes.
but not really like deeply understand it.
Okay. Actually, I also didn't have much knowledge on PAM. I heard of, I mean, there is a tool called CyberArk. If you heard of that, it's a
Yeah, I have.
tool that used for PAM. So I didn't have a chance. I didn't get a chance to work on CyberArk much, but I know those little concepts. Will I will tell the differences. Okay, we'll
Sure.
go through one by one. And we understand the web app, right? So I will teach why SailPoint. Do you know why we need SailPoint right now in the market? What's the requirement like?
SailPoint is mostly a identity governance and lifecycle management tool, right?
Mm-hmm.
So lifecycle management basically means the movers, joiners, leavers process. Whenever a person joins a company or they move roles or they leave the company, we want to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that, they only have access to the right information at the right time for the right reasons and only for what they need it for, and that's it. And the moment they don't need that access anymore, that access should be taken away. And that
Mm-hmm.
movers, leavers, joiners process is basically governed by, like softwares like SailPoint, and that, I mean, I can get into more details too, like mapping IT attributes to HR attributes and all those kind of things. But at a high level, that's basically one of the main things it's doing. And then also the
Mm-hmm.
identity governance piece of it basically is, um, making sure that we know who the people are that are requesting the access.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I guess it does authorization too, right? Like
Yep. Correct. You got it.
authentication
So,
authorization is part of the package, but SailPoint is, I think, mostly used for the lifecycle management.
yes, you
Right?
are absolutely correct. Yeah, but before SailPoint introduced how the market handles all this data, like before SailPoint is invented, how those things were handling.
Spreadsheets. We
Yeah,
had,
yeah.
even companies right now don't have any of this kind of stuff. Like even this last company, after I left,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I still have access to all their Jira boards.
Oh,
Why should I
really?
have that access? Because,
Okay.
whoever is managing this, right? They're probably just
Uh-huh.
creating, a lot of companies are still using ServiceNow tickets, literally, to send
Uh-huh.
tickets to say, hey, such and such person left. They had access to all these different applications. Can you take their access off? So if you don't
Okay.
know that I got access to some applications, or you didn't have that in
Mm-hmm.
your tracker and you didn't include that in your ticket, then nobody
Mm-hmm.
would even know that someone had that access, and then they may not even remember to take that access off. And again, if anytime you have a human being taking action to do these things and it's not completely automated and triggered by conditional workflows,
Yeah.
there's always going to be a delay, right? Even in my
Yes.
role, when I left, I still had access at least 6 hours after I have already, separated from the company. So I could
Mm.
have done a lot of things in 6 hours if I wanted to, right?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, that's the main problem is solving by SailPoint.
Right.
So it's like it will give access immediately, I mean, right access to the employee at the right time, and it will remove access for the employee immediately he leaves the company. So
Right.
for the main purpose, that's the main reason the SailPoint has came into market. So I mean, as you mentioned, like to handle spreadsheet and all that, that's a very difficult, right? So and there can be a human errors too while writing all those things. So to
Mm,
solve all those problems, SailPoint
mm,
came into the market. And
mm,
parallelly, there are other softwares too, like FrogRock and Omada, something. There are different kinds of software also there during the time, parallel with the SailPoint. But the SailPoint has a unique feature, like what the USP of the SailPoint is, like it has a many features and it is very robust. Like I mean, it is easy to, it is quick and it has a multiple features and like it can be more customized as per client requirements. So that's how SailPoint has survived among all other tools and it's very competitive with other tools. Okay.
mm, mhm.
So SailPoint, so you understand why SailPoint, then what's next?
The main
What
main
problem
problem
is
solving is basically that
joiner liver mover, as you
right.
mentioned.
That's what it's really good at, right?
Yes, that's where
It's
it's
not the main one for identity and access management as much as Okta is, for example, right?
mm, yeah, the thing is like before, I mean, in the initial days, SailPoint also do those like Okta what did like single sign-on,
Right.
MFA and all that. So that's how
Right.
SailPoint started. Then later they shifted to the governance part. So
The identity governance
yeah, IGA
and
part.
lifecycle management.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, got it.
So IAM, IGA, and PAM. So IAM, is this all like we can take this I here. Okay. IAM is first, then later it has three pillars. One is access management and identity governance and administration and privileged access management. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So identity access management is on a top level where it has a three pillars. Okay. One is access management, one is identity governance and administration, and the third one is a privileged access management. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if we talk about the access management, it is all about handling the sign-ons, like what Okta is doing now. So
Mm-hmm.
if we go to any website, if it is on Okta, it will just take care of the authentication and all that. You used Okta, right? So I think
Yeah.
you have the launchpad, something like that. All software will be at a single place. Once you sign on, it will give access to all the softwares related to the particular organization.
Yep.
Yeah, so
That you
that's
have should have
how.
access to, correct.
So that's how AM work, like access management works.
Right.
So everything come under the access management. Then later, it's all about authorization, MFA, and all that. I think you already know all those things.
Yeah.
So that's how AM is categorized. And here we are not solving the problem called governance and the administration. GRS, if I remember, governance. There's a full form, something like that. So there is a governance and the administration, where if go to any organization, they don't have a proper access reviews. Like if you request any access on an application, who has to approve that? Who has to reject that? And how long it has to be there? For that, there is no particular software at that time. So these all are come under the governance part,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
So access reviewing and performing a certifications yearly, like every year organization has to perform some access certification campaigns where
Right.
who, I mean, what access that employee is holding,
Right.
there
And
has
they
to
need to have
do
that access or
review.
not based on their
Yeah,
HR and
based on the
IT
roles.
rules.
Yes, correct. And if you see in any organization, employee shifted from one role to another role quickly, like within 3 months, they shifted from finance to business analyst, something like that, whatever. There's a shifting happening quickly. So based on that, the roles has to be changed, right? If we
Mm.
take an example like where the employee is handling the financial things and he shifted to he has to only approve. Okay.
Mhm.
If he has a role called, he has to only approve the financial related things. And
Mhm.
again, he shifted to role called where he need another role related to exact opposite to this. So like approve, reject, something like that. The one person should not have two access at the same time. There will be a problem, right, in the organization where he can approve and he can reject at the same time, something
Mhm.
like that. So to handle all those things, governance has to be come into the picture, right? So that's how IGA came up. So these all are taken the governance and administration parties taken care by the SailPoint. So here we perform access reviews on the employee accesses, roles, and we can perform certification campaigns. We can have a concept called policy violations. So there are multiple concepts come under IGA, and here it helps also for auditing. Okay,
Mhm.
you know the auditing, right? So have you heard
Yeah,
of
an
it?
audit basically is where the organization is going through and looking at all the different accesses to different applications that any of the employees have, and looking
Mhm,
to see based on their HR and IT roles that have been mapped out, do they still need that access and what level of access do they have within each of
mhm.
those applications? And that has to be met or pitted against the, what they're
The
supposed to have, right?
operation.
Like if
Yeah.
I'm starting as a business analyst and I got
Mhm.
access to, I don't know, a read-only access to Google Analytics, and then later
Yeah.
I switch to
You got a
marketing
writer.
or yeah, finance. Now I need read and write access to I don't know, QuickBooks,
Mm.
whatever.
Yep. Yep.
I should not have the read-only access anymore to the Google Analytics, and I should
Mm.
now have
Yep.
access to the, QuickBooks, read and write access, something like that. So
Mm.
that whole process is audited on a half year or
So
yearly basis to make sure that
yeah.
nobody has access they shouldn't be having.
Correct. So these auditing will all do by the big four companies like Deloitte and KPMG. They will come to the organization and they will follow some rules and they will audit on your organization and they will give some what they call verified something like that, verification certificate, something like that. So for
Mm.
that also the IGA will help us, like the SailPoint, since SailPoint have a access to all the applications and all the access reviews are happening in the software. So they have everything structured, like they have a data so that they can show to the auditing team. It will be easy for organizations to taking care of all this since they are at one place, right?
Right.
So that's how IGA helps to auditing. It helps for auditing as well. So yeah, that's all about IGA. You're understanding, right? I mean, I think
Yeah. No,
I'm
no, I'm
going little
understanding. I'm
fast.
understanding. Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, within identity, access management, that's the big umbrella. Within that, you have access
Hmm.
management, identity governance, and privileged access management. In
Yeah.
Okta is like a tool that mostly focuses on the access management. It does multi-factor authentication, single sign-on, blah blah
Yep.
blah.
It's all
Just
about
telling people like, who
authorization.
are you and
Mm.
should you have access or not? Yes or no. That's what Okta is doing,
Yes.
and identifying to make sure that you are who you're saying you are. And as far as the
Hmm.
identity governance part of it, basically it's really the movers, joiners, leavers process. You have HR rules, you have IT roles, you map your HR roles to your IT roles, and then you basically give access to people and govern that process based on
Hmm.
their, what they're supposed to have based on their roles. And you do audits, every now and then to make sure they only have the level of access that they need for the right reason at the right time. Whenever they move, join, leave, etc., their access is taken away and granted based on where they are in that lifecycle process.
Yeah.
So and then there's also policies that you have to adhere to. There's, SOX and GLIBA and blah, blah, blah that have specific,
Yeah.
requirements for level of access and data that has to be, like, so for example, like, PII data has to be masked. People can't just,
Hmm.
everybody in the organization can't just see that stuff, etc.
Yes.
And then the other
Yeah,
category you have is PAM, which is
spam.
privileged access management. Let's just say you have companies' financial information and data, or something extremely high security, such as PII or HIPAA, something like that. And for that kind of
Yeah.
access, you really want to make sure that there's several layers of security before someone can get to that. So that, if
Mhm.
somebody has that kind of access, they only get that access for the time and reason that they need it. And the moment they don't need it anymore, that access should be taken away. And then
Yes.
within all of that, there's also the
And
concept of I think the zero trust, which basically means doesn't matter who you are in the company, whether you're the CEO or the
yeah.
peon, you are never trusted. You always have to
Mhm.
verify who you are before you can get access to something.
Yes, correct. And one point I like to add for the PAM, like it helps to handle the passwords. Like if we go to any organization, there were some authorized privileged accounts,
Mm-hmm.
like some CEO something, or like service server account something will be there, right? Some privileged accounts.
Mm-hmm.
For this, there will be some called password vault. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So where it will store all the privileged account passwords, and it will monitor the software called CyberArk.
Mm-hmm.
It will monitor all those password walls and everything, like what happening. It will take screenshots and it will take logs and everything. What's happening with those accounts and everything will be monitored by the CyberArk tool.
Mm. Got it. So that if
Yeah.
somebody's trying to access
Yeah.
that, right, or using
Yeah.
those password vaults, then it
Mm-hmm.
basically it's like a system log
Yes.
that tracks every access request or who is
Yeah.
using those password vaults for what, when, blah, 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 right? Who's the person that
Yeah.
requested it? All that is
Mm.
maintained in there.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
So it's just for very, very useful for privileged accounts and other, and it will connect to the IGA too. We can connect CyberArk to the SailPoint, and we can do some use cases as well for that. Where a SailPoint, there are some privileged accounts in SailPoint. There are like some application accounts, server accounts where we need to do for applications to handle applications. I mean, to log into the applications, we need server accounts, right? For
Right,
the
right.
server account passwords and all that, we need to grab from CyberArk tool, password vault. So we need to integrate CyberArk to our SailPoint at the time to grab those passwords. So
So
that's how the
um CyberArk works in conjunction with SailPoint. Like if you have SailPoint, you still need CyberArk, or does CyberArk and SailPoint do what CyberArk does as well?
actually SailPoint also have a PAM, but I think CyberArk do better on a PAM. It's like it's completely for PAM.
Specifically focus on that? Okay, got it.
Yes, it's, especially for PAM, so they do good than SailPoint.
So
Yeah.
each of these management processes are sufficiently enough specialized and complex that there are entire tools that are built
Mm,
around and specializing in each of these
yes.
services.
Correct. And if you see, even in Okta, they have a joiner Livermore. I think they are introducing these two IGA concepts to the Okta.
Yeah,
I'm not
Wakta
sure, but
workflows.
oh yeah, I'm not sure, but I heard like they are also looking to introduce those IGA concepts into the Okta too. But I
Probably
have
the
no
workflows
idea.
that you're talking about. They basically you
Yeah,
can
maybe.
map out conditional
Mm-hmm.
statements using cards where you write
Mm-hmm.
out essentially that, hey, if this, then that. If this guy comes in and his role is this, then he should automatically have access to that. That entire thing
Uh-huh.
is automated using automated provisioning, deprovisioning, access. I think that's Okta Workflows is doing that in Okta, I think.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So yeah, I mean everybody is doing all things, but like these are few tools that were like they were worked on extensively in the particular what you call IGA or PAM, whatever. So they were experts in those particular domain.
Mm,
Even SailPoint do the single session sign on MFA and all that, but they're not. They are more specialized on IGA part.
right.
Yeah. So I think these are done. Also, I will show you the IAQ software where
Hmm.
we are. So we set up the server, right? So
Mm.
I install the server here, and to get the IQ software, we need to go to uh, SailPoint Compass. There will be a website called SailPoint Developers Developer Community. There, here we can find all the software, I mean, SailPoint related softwares. Okay, so this is the
Yep.
website we use for SailPoint. I can ping you later. I can
Okay.
put in a chat.
Randy, could you give me like 30 seconds? I just have to use to take a bio break real fast.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Thank you. Okay. Kranti, I'm back.
Okay. So this is this is a website that is maintained by SailPoint, developer.sailpoint.com,
Okay.
where we will see all community related things, documentation, or if there are any web updates on the SailPoint related things, all we can see on here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a official website of SailPoint. So
Okay.
developer forum. Okay, so this is other website where all SailPoint related people do discussions here. Like if they find any errors or if they find any issues, they just come here and they'll post here, and we can just go through those one by one. Like you can search here somewhere. We need to register. I think I already logged in. Yeah, you can just search here, like if you find any issue, like if you want to find any information, something like that, you can just search here and it will pop up related to those related
Mm-hmm.
posts, and you can go through which are related to it, and there will be a community. Some few people will respond to those issues,
Mm-hmm.
and it is easy to solvable as well.
Got it.
Yeah, it's just like a. Do you know Stack Overflow?
I've heard of it. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
basically a community for
similar to.
developers to collaborate on.
Yeah, yep, similar
People
to
post their
that.
issues, other people comment and try to solve it, blah blah blah. People help each other out.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
So for like that, for SailPoint, similar to that, and this is the forum used by SailPoint team. I mean
Mm,
developers.
got it.
Mm, and yeah, these are different websites of the SailPoint. And if you go to documentation, like if you wanna go through those any uh, documentation, you can find here product documentation.
Mm,
So the right now, I mean, SailPoint has different versions. Like every year they come up with the latest versions. Right now it is 8.4.
mm-hmm.
SailPoint IdentityIQ 8.4. Okay. Mm, go through product documentation. We need to install the product right first. I already
Yep.
did. I mean, I already installed from the website, and this is how it look. SailPoint IQ installation. It's just like this. It's like it's a zip folder. We need to download from the website.
Okay.
I couldn't see the URL here to download, but I don't. I'll send you after finding it. Okay.
Okay.
Somewhere it has to be. Products. Point four. I don't know where it is. I will send you. Okay, you can. Otherwise, I can send those zip folders. You install on your laptop too. Okay.
Sure. Okay.
I couldn't find those URLs. They change frequently from one
Right.
page to other pages. So it's difficult to go through those. Just need
Right.
to do some work over there.
Okay.
Okay. So once you install software from the browser, from this website, it will be look like this. Like it's a zip folder, simple zip folder. Once you double click, it will come it will come like this. Okay. So there will be a WAR file, and these are other folders where they have other related things. We no need to go through all of those things. We no need to go through understand the software, right? Just we need to use that software, okay? So if we go to the docs, we will see all the documentations, everything will be in this folder. They created one folder for documentation. We no need to go to those websites and download those. Just you can go to this docs folder and you'll see everything here itself for different use cases. If you
Got it.
want, if you want to go through those, yeah. Oh yeah, these are all different folders. We no need to go through those. And once you install the software, what we need to do is we need to go to Tomcat 9. So right now the SailPoint is supporting Tomcat 9. Okay.
Okay.
If you install Tomcat 10, it won't support. If you install Tomcat 10, it won't support a SailPoint IQ. I mean, it can't run software on your server. Okay. You
Okay.
need to install the Tomcat 9 only. So
Got it. Okay.
once you set up this, we need to go to the web apps folder and we need to,
Tomcat 10, I'm assuming came out quite recently, so that SailPoint hasn't gotten
yeah,
a chance to be compatible with that just yet, right?
yes, correct. Maybe. I think so.
Okay. Now, what we're dealing with is the SailPoint IIQ, so it has to be installed on your on-prem servers and databases, right? It cannot run in the cloud, correct? Like this is the
Hmm.
only way to work with SailPoint IIQ, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
I think we can set up on a EC2 instance too. I never tried it. I think we can do that as well. The thing is like there has to be a server, and the server has to be, it can be in any place like in EC2 instance or whatever. Just
Right, right.
in that
I mean, I guess, yeah.
server, we need to place the web app. That's it.
Well, an EC2 instance is basically a
Is
cloud-based, we're talking about a
system.
system, but it's still I
Regular
guess, on local,
on-premise. Yeah.
yeah, because it's running off of I guess if you use PuTTY or whatever you're using to connect to it.
Correct. It's just
On,
like running on a different location. It's just like our laptop running in different place,
right, right, right.
right? So
Okay.
you can do that as well on a EC2 instance too. Also, we can run it. So we after installing our software, we need to place here Identity IQ, and I will teach you. Okay, I will go through step by step, but I'm just giving overview how we need to set up a software IQ software. Okay, I will create one document for that, like the step by step process, how to install and set up. You will understand much better. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So once we did that, we need to place the folder in a web apps Tomcat server folder. And we before while you were discussing a web app application, there is a concept called database, right? So we have set up server, we have set up the backend software, and I here IdentityIQ is the server software. I mean the what do you call the software that handles the process the request and responses. Okay, not the server. Inside the server, I mentioned one. There will be one software, right? Backend software, if you remember.
Yes, you mentioned that. I don't remember the name of the softwares though.
I mean, it's just normal software. It can be any software. It doesn't matter. So there will be inside the server we have to place one backend software where it will process our request and responses. Okay.
Okay.
So that's how here our identity IQ act like that. It's like a backend software here, and the here server is a Tomcat. Okay,
Yeah.
you are understanding, right? Server is a software Tomcat, and here inside the server there will be a one backend software. It's called Identity IQ. Okay, our SailPoint basically.
So we are installing the SailPoint on our on-prem server, right?
Yeah, I mean, right now my Mac is acting like a server.
Okay.
So this is Tomcat server software. Okay. Inside this Tomcat server, we need to place our Identity IQ SailPoint software. It's like a software where it will handle request responses. Okay. This is IQ. And this is client, our browser. I mean Chrome. And we need to set up a database too, right? This is database. Okay. So till now we set up, I mean, we installed Tomcat, we installed Identity IQ software, and we placed our IQ software in the Tomcat server. We did this part till now. Okay. Now we need to set up a database, correct? I mean,
Yeah.
for a software, if you send any request, like I need to get the identity, particular identity. So all the identity related information stored in database. Okay. All
Okay.
the identity employee data will be stored in database. Identity IQ cannot store those information. It just take the request from the client and it will go to the database and it will grab the particular employee data and it will paste to the browser. Okay, you understood, right? So now we need to set up the database. Okay, so
Okay.
for SailPoint, it uses a database MySQL database. So have you heard of that name MySQL before? MySQL.
Yes, I know that there's post Grease SQL, MySQL, there's nothing maybe I guess those are the main two types. I don't know the differences between these, honestly.
Okay. So basically there are like two kinds of databases on a high level, like the relational database and the unstructured database. Let me make it clear. Relational database and the unstructured database. Okay. So relational database is nothing but like we have a specific schema for that. There will be ID, name, email, something like that,
We can
phone
think of a
number.
relational database sort of like variables in mathematics, right? You're basically saying x equals 1 plus 2. So anytime you see x, it means that in the other database, 1 plus 2 happened. And we're just
Mhm.
taking those variables and putting it in this. Like this relationship, this database is relational to the
Uh,
other one.
It's not like that. It's
Okay.
here relational database is like we have to stick to this schema only. We can't there will be it's like a static. We,
Oh, okay, okay, got it. So
so
it's got
if
a structure built into it already.
yep, it's already structured built, and if we got any new variable like the password here, we can't add it.
Mm,
Got it. We need to create it everything before, like there will be a structured schema we need to create first, then later we need to start inserting data into that database,
that schema, existing schema. Got it. Okay.
existing schema. And for
So
unstructured
that's so why is
database,
it called relational?
so the relational is like there are a few concepts like there will be a primary key, something there are little in-depth concepts will be there. So that's how they got relational database that name.
So that concept of the primary key, is that not what I described earlier? That the primary keys, right? Let's just say in like it's kind of like a, I guess like a relational tables, right?
Mm,
Like in the first table, I have the raw data and I do
yeah.
some transformations to that data or something like that. In the second table, I have that transformed data that's being pulled from the first table, right? So
Yeah.
is it
Yes.
is this similar to that kind of thing that databases get?
Yes, correct. We can connect the one table to other table, like foreign key, primary key, if you remember, if you heard of those words. So
Mm-hmm.
they were like we can connect two tables at the same time and we can create a new table from those two tables. Like for example, if there is an ID here in this table, and if you take a second table where it has an ID and the some order details, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So we can just write a query where ID from this database is matching to ID from this database
Mm-hmm.
and get the order details. You got it right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
like combining two tables and creating our request, like our, I mean, getting a details from other table. I
Right.
will I will give you one example if you want. You understood or you want me to give some any other example?
Um, I,
Little, little
basically,
bit.
you have a table with that's got a different
Mm-hmm.
uh columns and things like that, right? Then you're basically using that as a referential database to create a new database that's got some additional
Yeah.
information, but it's pulling the column
Yeah,
records,
column
for
formation.
example, from that other database, the first one, and
Mm.
and you're storing that information as a primary key into the second database, essentially, right? And that primary key is referencing that first one,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. It's just like from the first table, from the information from the first table, like if there's an ID called 100 and the same ID 100 is there and we need to grab the ID. We have a requirement where we need to get the detail order details of the ID 100. If we see here, we didn't have order details here. We have order details in other table. So
Mm-hmm.
first we'll grab the ID 100 from here, from the based
Mm-hmm.
on the name or email, something like that. And we will search this ID from this table and we will fetch the order details.
Right. From that first table.
So yeah, from the second table, order details there, right? So that's how like it's just like connecting two tables,
Yeah,
like yeah, manipulating something like that to grab to get the data.
got it.
And for unstructured database, there is no particular schema for this. Like we can just add dynamic what you call label. It's stored as a JSON format. It's just not like a like it's not there is no particular structure
There's
for
no
this.
schema
Like
in it.
there's no schema in it. Like I mean,
So
it
you
has a
can.
schema, but everything is stored as a objects here.
Hmm.
It's like a JSON objects. You know JSON, right?
I know it's a type of file, but I don't know that in any more details than that. Like
Mm-hmm.
JSON
Okay.
versus Parquet. I mean, I don't know the differences between these type of files.
Uh-huh. Okay. So it's just like here, if you see here, it's ID, name, email. So if you go to JSON, it will be like this. ID, something information will be there, name. It will it will store like this. It's like a map, hash map.
Hmm.
I can show you on Google.
Sure.
Yeah, it will store information in database like this.
Oh, okay. So it's basically a schema and then the value next to it, something like that.
Yeah. So if you have a requirement where you need to add a separate column, I mean separate, if you got any new variables, so you can add it here irrespective of the schema.
Hmm. You can change it. Okay.
Yeah, it's a dynamic.
Hmm.
So I mean these are no need for us. So we need to concentrate on the MySQL. Okay.
Right.
So So to set up a MySQL, it's and again we need to install few softwares. Okay, it's
Hmm.
just little bit overwhelming to install a MySQL, set up everything. So so MySQL as a software again. Okay, MySQL, download MySQL. Right now it's like 8 point something like that will be there. You can install whatever you need. But the one that I had in my laptop is I forgot that. Let me check. I think I had 8 in my system. SQL. Yeah, it's 8.0.34. Okay.
Hmm.
So this is the version right now SailPoint is supporting. So we need to install this MySQL software first. Okay. I will tell the process how to install and all that in next class. Right now, I'm just telling like we need to install the software and we need to set up on your laptop, okay?
Hmm.
And once you install the software, it doesn't have any UI. It just take on your laptop and it will act you as a database server, okay? So to showcase, I mean, to see the software, we need to install another application called MySQL Workbench.
Okay.
So MySQL Workbench.
And we need this software in order to see what? Say that one more time.
To see the MySQL database, it's just like a UI. It is just showcasing us
Got it. Okay. It's a GUI
from
for
the
the database.
from the
Just
database. Yep,
to be able
correct.
to visualize and see the information in it.
Yes, correct. So once you install the MySQL Workbench, you can see databases that have in your system from the in the MySQL server. So if you see here, IdentityIQ, this is the database that is using my SailPoint software right now that I am in my system. Okay,
Hmm.
how to connect to this database and all that I will tell you in next class. We can discuss more in depth in next class. Okay, how to set
Okay.
up and all that. So these all are the tables that are using by SailPoint. There are plenty of tables. We don't need to create everything. There will be a files. Everything will be there. Just there are like 2-3 clicks. Everything will be set up.
Okay.
There will be scripts that will take care of creating tables. Everything. Just we need to install softwares. That's it. And
Hmm.
there are few commands that we need to run. Once we did that, everything will be set up and SailPoint will run our system.
Okay.
So once we set up this database, now we are ready to start the server, Tomcat server.
Sure.
Okay. So how to start the server? That's a question we need to have right now. So if we go to Tomcat software and if you go to folder called bin, there you will see different scripts. Okay. So this is the folder where we need to concentrate on about starting software server, stopping server and all that. Okay. Just we need to go to this bin folder through terminal and we need to run the startup.sh.
Mhm.
Okay. There we can see shutdown.sh2. This is to shut down the server.
Mhm.
Okay.
These are all the executive or
Executable files.
executable files for the
Yep.
software.
They're ready to go. Yep.
Okay.
Everything is ready to run. Everything will be taken care by the software. Yeah. So let me, before running the software, I mean the Tomcat server.
It says run this exec file to download it. Basically what it is. It's the files that you can run to execute something in the software.
Something means anything?
Like when you download a software, you get to run it.
I'm
Run button.
just about software.
Yes,
Okay.
these are the files that you can run.
So we need to start our server too. I will show you how to start that too. Are you using a Windows or Mac?
Windows.
Windows. Okay. So initially it will be on a stop stage, like it will show the red dot if the server is not running. I mean the database server, MySQL server. In Mac, if I go to the settings and if I search for MySQL, I can see like this. I need to click start MySQL server, just a click, okay?
Mhm.
And it will ask my credentials. Once I did that, it is running now. I can see green, right? Green dot, it means it's running. Now,
Right.
now my database server is running. Okay. Now I need to start the Tomcat server. Okay. I will open terminal and so now I need to go to the bin folder. Okay. So I need to go to this bin folder, right? So you know this commands, right? I think you heard of the CD, something like that. How to go to the particular folder from the terminal.
I've played around with this a little bit. Yeah, giving commands, but I mean,
Mhm.
I understand the concept of it. You're giving commands without you having GUI. And you can
Yeah.
do this, on your computer. You can, if like for example, the other day I set up a EC2 instance and deployed
Uh-huh.
installed Jenkins on there, and we used a software like this called Putty, Putty,
Okay,
to
okay,
run
put it. Yeah,
those
yeah. Yeah.
commands to install that Jenkins.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, yeah, the idea of the command is to just give commands to take
Hmm.
actions, so when you don't have it GUI to work with. And
Hmm.
that's faster. That's one of the reasons why we're using this, is because it's faster than
Yeah.
having a graphical user interface
From
and doing all
yes,
those things,
correct.
right?
Yep, correct. So yeah, now I'm in bin folder of a Tomcat server, and if I run this start, startup.sh, if you see here,
Mm-hmm.
I need to select that file and just click enter, and it will show you Tomcat started. I mean, our server is running now, Tomcat server. So it means once the Tomcat server is started, it will go to web apps and it will see what applications that it had in this folder, web apps folder. We already placed our IQ software here, so it will run this software. I mean the backend software that we have, IQ. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so we need to go to browser, any browser that have in a system, and right now our server is running on a localhost 8080 port.
Right.
Okay. So once I click that localhost 8080, and it is showing here like If you are seeing this, you are successfully installed Tomcat. Congratulations.
This 8080,
And
what is that localhost 8080? What is that? Why is that
s-
one a common one?
so right now, our Tomcat server, Tomcat server is running on my system, right?
Mm-hmm.
So localhost is our, I mean, every laptop is a server,
Mm-hmm.
one kind of server, okay? Your laptop is a server, my laptop is a server. And for that, the IP address is a local host.
Mm-hmm.
Like just like google.com, localhost is our IP address for a laptop, okay? So localhost is like 127.0.0.0, if I'm not wrong. Localhost IP address. Yeah, 0.0.1. So instead of typing localhost, I can type a 127.0.0.1. It means it's a local host only. So if I click 8080, see, instead of localhost, I typed the IP address.
Okay.
You understood, right?
And
I told you
it took you
before.
to the, yeah, like basically that
Same.
web address is, that IP address is redirecting to the website. It's the same thing.
Yeah. So what I'm telling is like it's instead of typing all this, they gave name as a local host, just like google.com for 8.8.8.
Hmm.
It's the same thing. Even if you type localhost 8080, same page. And
And
even if
this
you,
Tomcat server is the one that we just installed, you just installed?
yeah, this is a software that we installed and it is running on your laptop on this
And
IP address.
and this IP address is displaying the GUI for that software, is what we're looking at right now.
Yes, correct.
So this is gonna show us all the different things
Or the
in the
Tomcat server.
on
Yeah.
the server. Just visualize it for us,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yeah. So it's just like a Tomcat UI. It's not our SailPoint. It's just the server UI.
Right.
So our server is running on this IP address. So once you open that, it will show the Apache Tomcat UI.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And now we need to start we need to go to our Identity IQ software. How we go to there? If you remember, I told you REST APIs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we need to go to slash identity. So localhost 8080 slash identity IQ. So this is the IP API. It's like a slash identity IQ. It means it will take you to the SailPoint software. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is a login page of the SailPoint,
Mm-hmm.
and SP admin and the admin is the basic password for for the first user of the SailPoint.
Mm-hmm.
So once you get that, you just click login, and this is the SailPoint software.
Yeah. Okay, I see.
You can see it, right? You
Yep.
can see access request, policy violations, identities, identity warehouse. I onboarded few identities so that you can see. So
Mm-hmm.
these are the identities that I onboarded. So that's how we can see employee data. It's just they're like employees in the
Right.
organization. So if we open any identity, we can see those information, all that.
Mm.
And if we go to applications, and these are the applications that I onboarded, JDBC, and those two are JDBCs. I mean,
I see.
from the MySQL database.
Mhm.
So if you see, I will go through all those, okay, all the UI part. I mean, just for overview, I'm just showing identities. And if you see all this information, it is stored in a database. If we go to our MySQL workbench, as I mentioned before, everything is has to store in database.
So that instance of the SailPoint
Mm-hmm.
is connected to the database that you
That
have on-prem that you installed here. And it's
yeah,
basically you're communicating with that, website on the cloud or on the web via that server that you installed here, Tomcat server,
yes, Tomcat server. Yes,
right? So
that database is connected to the Tomcat server software. Yeah. So you were saying something. Sorry, I interrupted.
no, one of my friends is watching. I was just trying to explain the concept to him, like that we have this, we have
Mm-hmm.
the server on the local machine here. We
Mm-hmm.
also have the database on the local machine here, right?
Okay.
And using those two things on the local machine, we basically using the unique IP address, we essentially accessed our SailPoint account on the web, and we
Mm-hmm.
logged in, and all the information on our database and the server is taking that database from our on-prem database and then fetching it for us on the web so we can visualize all of it on the SailPoint.
Yes, correct. So there are multiple tables for SailPoint, okay? We can, I mean, like whatever we are doing on a UI, it has to store in a database, right? So
Right.
there are multiple tables, so we don't need to worry about all those. But there are few tables that we need to worry about, like the identities. So if you go to SPT identity somewhere. So yeah. Yeah, now we can see all the employee data that I have in my that that we see in a SailPoint UI.
It's now this is the backend version in the database we're looking at it, right?
Mm. So if you see here, Abhishek Sharma, we can see that information in database.
So basically,
Abhishek,
okay, so this is the actual database itself, and this is the same information it's
mm,
pushing from the database to the SailPoint web server
yeah,
or web
yes.
version, whatever it's called. What is that called? Web instance?
Which one?
What tenant? What is it?
Tenant is different. Tenant is like it's related to cloud. You
Is
can
it
just
called an
call it as
instance?
yeah, you can call it as an instance,
Okay.
SailPoint instance. So for that instance, we are pushing data, all this data from this applications. Okay. So
Hmm.
okay. I will tell you from like from initial what you call the from initial step. Okay. So
Hmm.
first we need to grab the applications. What I mean the employee data, where it is, from what applications we need to grab the employees data. Okay. First, we need to choose those applications. In our case, I took the JDBC application where uh, this table, this information is came from application called JDBC Target app. Okay.
Hmm.
First, I will connect to this data to this application, and I will pull data from this application. Okay. This application can be in anywhere, like any like its application streams
Hmm.
like what do you call in real time there are multiple applications like SAP, Workday, Workota. If you remember, all employee data will be handled by them, right? Like it will store all employee data.
Mhm.
we will connect our SailPoint to those softwares and we will pull data from those softwares. Okay, first we will pull data from those softwares. That is called aggregation.
Mm.
Okay, so once we pull the data, all the data will be shown here, okay, as an accounts. Okay, once we pull the data from the softwares and we need to do some manipulations, and it will create a identity cubes in our SailPoint like this.
Mhm.
Then
So
this
basically,
data,
those files, right? Those files that we saw in the database contain
mhm,
information from various applications
yes,
that
mm,
our SailPoint identity governance is managing, right? We've onboarded,
yeah,
or I guess onboarded, you can say, those applications, something like that. And
mhm,
they're pulling, those applications contain all different types of data about each of these employees, right? And
yes,
we are basically pulling all of that data into the SailPoint to create the identity cube, which contains all of those attributes, or
yeah,
information about that each person.
yes,
Something,
correct.
something like that, right?
It's just like gathering all the employees data from different applications and it will store in a SailPoint IQ database here in database. This is particularly SailPoint database, not other applications database.
Right. Yeah, I think I understand the concept. In data, we have the concept, it's called stitch. So you're basically
Mm-hmm.
taking a whole bunch of information, data points, they're called nodes in a database.
Mm-hmm.
And you're connecting all those nodes together, stitching it together to create
Yeah.
basically an identity cube, something like that. It's a 360
Mm.
view of each customer, so you can see everything about a person,
Yeah.
all their information. So this is kind of the same equivalent in some ways, right? The process is the same.
Mm. Yep. The what do you call the architecture, something like that. Yep. This
Same.
overall
Hmm.
same thing. It's just like collecting data from different sources and putting it one place and
Right.
performing actions on the data
Right,
like
right.
that. So once we got the data from different sources, now actual game starts. There, this particular user can request for the access that he wants, and we can. There will be a concept called access reviews,
So this
and
view that we're looking at is from the admin view, right?
yep, from the administrator view.
Got it.
So
The end user view looks different from this, I'm
yeah,
assuming.
user view looks different. They don't have all this application intelligence setup and all this. They just
Right.
have a button for access review, I think.
Access request, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
access request and all that.
Okay.
Managed access review. These all not there will no options for them, I think. Yeah.
Mm,
So I will check the text that you have sent me.
hmm.
So if you see here, yes, could you please send the text to this
Yeah.
group once, the
Yeah.
map that you want us?
Yeah. Yeah. That was just ChatGPT generated, by the way. But I did run it through
Uh-huh.
Yusuf and his
Uh-huh.
former coworker, who are both SailPoint experts.
Okay.
And they said that this is pretty on point as far as what I need to learn if I want to become a SailPoint BA. They said it's
Mm-hmm.
mostly pretty much correct.
Okay.
But this is I basically
Because
asked ChatGPT like, hey,
in
I want to
the
become a SailPoint BA. What I'm structuring my classes. What do I need? What are the typical duties of a SailPoint BA look like? What are the things that they do day
uh-huh.
to day? So that's
Okay, you just ask ChatGPT and it gave you the full roadmap.
right, right. I just sent it in that group chat.
Okay. Will there be any app for online notepad, something like that?
Uh,
Yeah, I
you
got
have
one.
Mac, so you can use.
Mm. Yeah. So if we see here, joiner, liver, mover. So use cases. To get there, we need to understand first how to onboard the applications to our SailPoint, like I did here. Where it is. Yeah. See, this is like this like getting applications into SailPoint is called application onboarding. Okay.
Right. Right.
So pulling data from those applications is called data, pulling data from those applications is called aggregation. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And once we pull the data and we created identities in our SailPoint, if the identity is performing, I mean the user is requesting any access, so that access has to be updated in database, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is called provisioning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That provision. Okay, repeat that last part one more time. Provisioning is called what?
Updating data into the database. Like, I mean, if a user is requesting any access for a particular application, like for example, if we take a John is requesting access for rights on a finance application,
Mm-hmm.
once the request is approved by the manager, that action has to be performed in database, right? Like the application's finance application has to write like John add access, right? That role has to that what we call the permission has to be updated, right, on a database side.
Mm-hmm.
So to do that, the process is called provisioning. SailPoint has
Mm-hmm.
to send data to the application's database, like John need access to write, it has already approved. So write database, I mean update the database with the right access, something like that. So that is called provisioning. It's just like coming into the SailPoint is called aggregation, going out, I mean SailPoint is telling something to the database is called provisioning. Okay.
Got it. Something coming into SailPoint is called aggregating,
Yeah.
right? When we're pushing data
Pushing data
out
and
of
all that is
SailPoint,
called.
we're calling that provisioning.
Yeah, updating a database, something like that is called provisioning. Updating from
Interesting. It's a very
yeah.
different type of process in Okta. Provisioning is like getting a user started in Okta. Like you're provisioning a user, like you got their account set up and they're ready to start. But here it's a very different word.
Aggregation means what in Okta?
So when you're pulling data into Okta,
Yeah, it's called
you could do
aggregation.
I guess a group push where you have data, like say you have Active Directory groups and you want to import them into Okta. I guess it'd be called import.
Import.
You're
Okay.
importing users.
Okay.
Would be the
So
equivalent. You could
provisioning.
have like a CSV file or something you can import all that information into. There's different ways to add them. You can do a manually add people. You can
Okay.
import people's information using CSV file. You can you connect with Active Directory and I guess it's called a group push or something like that.
Okay.
You can import like that too.
Oh, there's a different terminology. If I go through
Yeah,
all of those, I
provisioning in
might
Okta is
little
a very different
confusing.
word. Provisioning means you gotta you new person joined your company, right? So now they need access to certain applications. So they're gonna you're gonna provision them in Okta, which will send them, the email to create an account in Okta, send them a temporary password, something like that. There's different ways to provision people, but the idea is that they would then set up their account in Okta, and the provisioning process would start, and they would then be able to access their applications through Okta by provisioning through in Okta. Provisioning is more so like related to an account. An account was
Okay.
created for a user in Okta, would be called provisioning.
That's a whole different words actually. Do you
Right.
know there's a tool called Savient? Have you
I've
heard
heard
of
of
that?
it, yeah.
Did anybody suggest to learn you that as well?
No, not really. No, I
Okay.
don't think Yusuf ever mentioned the Sabian to me. He basically said just focus on Okta and SailPoint for right now. Maybe, I mean, a third one might be King. ping identity.
Maybe.
I mean, you know, with SailPoint, there's some things you have to learn, peripheral things, right? You got to learn some DevOps stuff like Terraform and Jenkins and GitHub Actions, CI pipelines, cloud, and then
Yeah.
Python, and then there's
Java.
Java.
Yeah. You need to learn Java more first than the other tools. Actually,
Yeah.
I mean, you want to become a BA, right? So I think you need to learn those tools first.
Yeah.
Terraform,
There's
and
many
then
different things I could approach it, right? I could approach it from the BA perspective, going into as a BA. I could approach it as going in straight away as an engineer. I could even get
yeah,
into this stuff as a solutions engineer, solutions architect, something like that.
yeah.
But I have thought about this, and I think the BA route would be the easiest given my current knowledge and experience.
Hmm.
Because I'm not a technical person at all. Like I don't have any background, but
Yeah,
at least with BA, I know the basics, right? Like going to
yeah.
an application owner with a set of questions, right? Technical
Hmm.
questions and getting those
Yep.
responses, taking that back to the technical team, giving them, you know, hey, what is the protocol you need to use? What is this? What is that? All those things. Like I have done that in my current
Hmm.
past positions. So that's why I thought that would be the easiest way to crack into it, into the
Hmm.
security field, cybersecurity.
Okay. I think you have great communication skills too, so that better you can be a BA. You
Yeah,
can.
exactly right. Exactly. I think I'm pretty good at translating and
Hmm.
articulating the information if I understand it well enough. And in order for me to understand it, I have to know it from the technical side, I think, to
Technical.
some extent.
Yeah. Hmm. Yes. We need to use the right words at the right time, I think, to
The
understand
best
them.
BAs are always going to be the ones that have the most technical backgrounds, typically. As long as the communication
Uh-huh.
skills are all the same, given all
Uh-huh.
things equal, the more technical you are, the better business analyst you're going to be because you've been there
Ye-
and done it yourself and you understand it well enough to be able to
Yeah.
translate it to the technical team.
Yes, correct. I think while we are gathering requirements, we need to ask the right technical words, right questions. We need to ask them, right?
Right. Right.
So that's how we'll gather right information. Okay. So I think these are like a little bit granular words they used. Cell point friendly requirement. Here there's no like nothing technical stuff here. Document provisioning issues, audit gaps, interview HR, compliance teams. It's just like connecting application teams like HR team, IT team, infosec. Like if we go to any organization, there are different application teams, right?
Mm-hmm.
So HR team like employee data
Mm-hmm.
and all that. They're just like it's talking to application teams on a high
Mm-hmm.
level.
Mm-hmm.
So just business analyst has to go to the application teams and gather the information related to those users, application users, how they has to get into the SailPoint team. I mean SailPoint software, how they has
Mm-hmm.
to uh if you uh
The
if
application
you
owner will give you all the technical details for how that application needs to be integrated into SailPoint, basically,
SailPoint,
right?
yeah,
How that integration
the
needs to happen. Now, does the
mm,
application also come with users?
yes, they need to provide users data too.
Like the application owner already has those user data, or is it more like, hey, a bunch of new people just joined our company?
Mm-hmm.
Um, okay, so when you're onboarding an application, basically that means that this application does not currently live in the SailPoint ecosystem for our company. We need to add
Yeah,
it to the ecosystem,
yes,
basically, right?
need to add to the SailPoint ecosystem.
So that
It's need to
we can
SailPoint.
manage people's access through SailPoint to that
Mm,
application. So then you
yeah,
go to
correct.
the application owner and you basically get the technical details of the application, like, hey, what
Mm.
protocol to use? Does it work with this or
So
that? Like all those
yeah,
details, right?
yes, correct. So I
And
mean
then
to
you go
connect
back to the
to
SailPoint team, who then basically
mm,
looks at all those details and basically
yeah,
uses those details in order to do the configuration between the SailPoint and that application, right?
yeah, correct.
Okay.
So it's just like configuring application to the SailPoint. Like if we see here, it is asking few details to connect to the particular application. So it's just like we need to ask the information like who is the owner of the application, who is the revoker of that application. Owner is nothing but if we raise any request for this application, it will go to this owner and he has to approve that request, something like that.
Yep.
And if you go to configuration, you can see the connector user, password, database URL. All this information has to be gathered from application team.
Mm-hmm.
And
Kranti, can you give me
that's
another 30 seconds? I'll be right back.
yep, sure. I will also take break for a minute.
Sure, no problem.
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay, brother. Sounds good.
Had you dinner, by the way?
Man, I ate so much food earlier. I had Taco Bell.
Wow. Okay.
I did customize the order to make it healthier, somewhat. But
Wow. Okay.
for dinner, I'm just gonna have probably a protein shake, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. What do you had for breakfast?
Man, I don't even eat breakfast. I do intermittent fasting, so I'll eat something
Uh,
like at as late as maybe midnight or so, and then
okay.
I'll fast for at least 12 hours. So I basically skip breakfast and everything altogether.
Oh,
So I
okay.
don't eat until like say 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then I'll have my one meal, which is usually the biggest meal I'll have for the day,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll do like very small meal at night, which
Right.
is
Okay.
usually liquid.
Wow. Okay. That's
My diet is
different.
very strange.
Yeah, I don't know. It's healthy, right? So it's okay.
I'm trying to be healthy. I'm mostly vegan. It's a little bit of vegetarian
Mm.
here and there, but for like 90% of the time I'm vegan.
Okay, so you do any calculations while taking like grams, like carb, proteins, you measure something like that, or you just have it randomly?
Oh man, that I used to do all that kind of stuff back then, but as long I do measure my protein, like my
Mm-hmm.
macros to some extent. Like
Mm-hmm.
I try to get at least like I weigh
Mm-hmm.
180, I think, pounds right now. So I try to get at least like 150 to 180 grams of protein per day. Really, I try to shoot
Mm-hmm.
for like my body weight in grams. So like 180 is my goal, but it's so hard to eat that much protein every day, pure protein, you know?
Mm.
So
Yeah.
other than that, I don't really count the fat and the carbs and stuff like that.
Mm. Okay.
If the
Okay.
protein count is good, then the other things typically will balance themselves out, right? Like if you just focus on eating 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight,
Mm.
you will naturally, automatically, the other two I think
Article.
will balance themselves to some extent.
Yep. Correct. Yes. Okay, so you won't eat chicken and all that, right? So you're like,
No.
what do you want to eat for protein for which as a vegetarian? You use a protein bar or something like that?
So I do lots of lentils. I do quinoa, black beans, edamame, seitan, tofu, vegan
Oh,
plant-based
okay.
protein shakes. I do
Use protein powder?
broccoli. I don't use the powder. I mean, I'd have the powder. I take that occasionally too, but I do the ready to drink ones from Owen, OWYN,
Mm-hmm.
only what you need.
Uh-huh.
I drink a
Okay.
lot of those, and then I have Soylent. I mean, I try to have as much variety, man. That's the biggest thing I've learned is every grocery store order I make is I try to make it as different from the last one as I could. That's how you give
Mm-hmm.
yourself, the best chances of taking in as much of the
Yeah.
nutrition, not having any deficiencies in any way.
Mm.
So I try to have a
Yeah.
lot of variety and not to repeat the same thing over and over.
Wow, that's nice. That's
Yeah.
cool.
I don't know if it's the best, but that's what I've learned in my research,
Mm-hmm.
limited research I've done in this.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, how about you? Are you
Uh,
vegetarian? Do you eat everything or?
I eat I mean I'm a non-vegetarian, but I eat only chicken,
Oh,
beef,
okay, gotcha.
goat, not beef, pork.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. I eat breakfast as a oatmeal. It's a daily thing.
Okay, that's
For
good. Yeah, it's a
lunch,
good source of carb for sure.
yep. It's like I'm also planning to eat enough protein per day, something like that. So I'm just
Mm,
eating some chickpeas, something like that. Just managing my protein count. Yeah. Okay.
sure.
We'll come to
Good
this
idea.
point. Mhm. So we covered the slide. So provisioning issues, audit gaps, and we did. I told you right the provisioning part, like how it has to be come to
Hmm.
the database. So once we request for an access in a SailPoint, it will pass through different levels. Like it will pass to the manager, like how it has to approve by whom it has to approve, something like that.
Mm,
So we need to ask the application team. Okay, so how the request has to be reviewed, something like that. We will understand much more like once you understand the flow of the access request. Okay,
mm,
so this contains all the terminology that we have to discuss. Like if you see access certifications, role modeling, and these are the features that is providing by SailPoint.
mm-hmm.
Rules for access reviews, RBAC models, workflows. Yeah, we can go through one by one. Like once you know the features, you will understand better here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Even if we talk one by one, it's little difficult to understand right now, I think.
There's a lot on here, huh?
Yeah.
Some of these
It's
things I'm familiar with, user acceptance testing, functional testing.
mm,
Um,
yeah.
I know how to use Visio, Lucidchart, Confluence. What else?
Okay.
Like some of these things I'm already familiar
Do
with
you know
from being a BA, but a lot of
uh-huh.
I don't know.
You know these tools, they're open source, they're free. Are they free?
They have a free Confluence has maybe a free version. I know you can get a free instance of Jira. I think you
Mm-hmm.
get Confluence for free too, but it's very limited in its storage and capacity and that kind of stuff. But yeah,
Okay.
I think you can use Confluence for free. There's a free version of it. The
Mm-hmm.
other ones, Visio, and what was the other one? Lucidchart.
Lucid chart.
I think they also have some free version, but it's very basic. Visio is a
Uh-huh, okay.
Microsoft tool, and Lucidchart is another third-party tool that you use for diagramming and building like workflows, diagrams, swim lane diagrams. any kind of
Mm-hmm.
technical diagrams, we typically use those kind of things. There's also draw.io, which is a
Ah,
tool that's already built into Confluence for these diagramming.
yeah, I use draw.io for my projects for drawing AWS architectures.
Mhm.
It's a free, I think, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and these all are technical words. That's it. I think there is nothing we can do with the SailPoint. They're like auditing and compliance, supporting auditing, internal controls.
Mhm.
Yeah, we'll discuss this later. So, you want me to continue or you wanna
It's up to you, man. If you want
continue?
to keep going, sure. If they feel like you're getting tired, we can call it and start over tomorrow.
Yeah, we can take it a break for today. I mean, just we discussed a lot, I think, today. So we can just
Sure.
revise those concepts once, like what is a web app, what's a client server database, and all that. We
Okay.
can just go through those, and we'll in next class we'll discuss on how to set up a SailPoint on your system. Okay, so
Okay.
installing the softwares and all that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan. Let me stop the recording.